Would you mind just kind of introducing yourselves and what company you're with and why you're here? Would
Yeah, sure. I'm Matthias Gilot. I'm one of the founders of Coworks. We're an online staffing agency for quality creatives. I'm obviously here because you invited me, and I have a great trust in everything you do, Andrew.
The reason I'm here is I sort of like to think of myself as somebody who wants to stay at the cutting edge of new staffing trends. We were early adopters of, for example, the MSP VMS wave.
Yes.
And I almost feel like that online staffing is going to be the next wave that's going to change our industry in a big wave.
My name is Susan Magrino, and I'm a Senior Vice President of Talent Circles. We're based in San Bruno, and we happen to be responsible for coming up with the Candidate Engagement Index. We're focusing on talent engagement and talent communities.
I'm April Patrick, and I'm based out of New York City, and in Lubbock. So yeah, and I work for the Willis Group as well. So we're a talent acquisition company, and trying to learn what's going on and how to use technology.
My name's Tara Campbell, and I'm with INT Technologies. We're a nationwide IT staffing company. I focus here in the Bay Area, and I came tonight to meet other people in the industry and different niches like John's and trends and what have you, but mostly just to connect with new people.
Brandon Callie from Elance, Director of Large Accounts. We deploy private talent clouds to enterprises and mid-markets. Silicon Valley local. Our headquarters is down in Mountain View.
Jeff Nugent. I'm the founder of Contingent Workforce Solutions. I'm also the managing editor of a LinkedIn group focused on the contingent workforce. What Contingent Workforce Solutions does is IC compliance. Oh, I forgot to tell you. See, Andrew really wants me to say I'm the token Canadian in the crowd. So I am from Toronto, Canada.
we do have one anthropologist, by the way.
Okay, that sounds good.
Krista McAllister. I'm actually with Cirrus Interim Executive Solutions, and we provide interim and part-time executives.
Okay.
And obviously I'm here and looking at the space and the online cloud computing world as to we're seeing that a possibility in the future.
Marty Lowe, and I am the Chief Financial Officer at the Institute for the Future.
The Institute of the Future.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. What is that?
We are a nonprofit think tank,
Okay.
and we do forecasts ranging from 10 years to 30 years in a variety of different fields.
Edward Jackson EJ, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm president of Provade, which is a VMS company, so
Okay.
I'm one of those characters. The reason I'm here is the phenomena of online staffing, something I've actually been engaged in. I'd started a company back in the 90s that initially tried this.
This is our second meetup, and tonight we're going to, the last meetup we talked broadly about human cloud platforms and enterprise adoption, and tonight we're going to be talking about a specific type of human cloud platform, what we've been calling online staffing platforms. What distinguishes online staffing platforms is that they create a one-to-one relationship, in effect, between an organization that is hiring and an individual or multiple individuals that are going to be working and get that whole work arrangement done via an online platform. So we're going to be talking about that today. A lot has been changing. The major subject is going to be what's changing and where are things headed as we move into 2014.
Matt Cooper, I'm our Odesk's VP of Business Development International. So I've been working on our enterprise business for the last couple of years.
Gene Zano, founder, president, CEO of MBO Partners.
My name is Jeff Wald. I'm the founder, COO, CFO, and a host of other titles of WorkMarket.
Contracting or freelance or whatever you want to call it, business, is a spectrum of different kinds of things. And I think what you're going to see is by different types of projects or by different types of people, there's going to be deeper, more specialized areas that, maybe Odesk, Elance, WorkMarket, whoever is going to start building certain areas of expertise. But I think the type of project and the type of work is going to require different things. I don't think one size fits all. I don't think CMSs solve the problem for everything, and certainly I don't think any one tool is going to work for the entire spectrum.
Adding value to how you track time, they're sitting next to you. It's just that's not as big of an issue when somebody's sitting next to you every day. You're not worried about where their time is being spent, and whether or not they're working. So I think there's the value where you add value in your platform shifts depending on whether
that's
local or offsites. We're sort of developing disparate feature sets to solve different problems.
Which goes to Jane's point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. When you're dealing with on-site work, there are a host of issues that come to the fore that are different than remote work. And so I think Matt's exactly right. When you are dealing with people that are closer to you, you do have a much bigger compliance issue, and as much as they could be deemed to be an employee, so you have a worker misclassification issue. If they are going to be doing on-site work, you now have an insurance issue around workers' comp and general liability and E&O, and a host of things that you simply don't have offline and in a remote worker.
What does it take to engage this particular type of worker? And I think it depends on that type of worker and that type of project. And certainly in the enterprise, where you could have large numbers of people, the bar gets raised quite a bit. And there's different issues to take place.
I'm going to go back to phase one here. So one of the initial impetuses for us founding Work Market was a paper written by a guy named Roman Kos. It was called The Nature of the Firm. And it talked about what is the idealized structure of a corporation. An idealized structure of a corporation is a very, very small fixed cost kernel and everything else engaged via contract, variabilized labor. But it was determined by Nova Laureate Kos that that was not possible. Right? The transaction cost made that inefficient to do. Meaning companies have always wanted to have a flexible on-demand workforce, but they never had the tools to do it. I think that you had a bunch of pioneers that came out, in phase one, Odesk and Elance being the leaders among them, that started to make people understand that you could start to do this.
I think what's happening is there's the democratization of labor, of work. And I think there's now more of a open talent economy, and LinkedIn kind of unveiled like everybody could put their profiles up now, right? So it's more accepted. And I think what's happening is hiring managers are self-sourcing talent or accumulating buckets of talent that they want to use, and if it's more specialized, I think they tend to also be more independent. And it's kind of like what happened with IT 50 years, maybe 30 years ago, where everything was centralized and you have to do it our way. Now it's bring your own device, right? I believe it's going to soon be bring your own worker, and people are going to be their own thing. And what's needed, and the reason why we found the Work Market relationship to be very valuable to us and to our clients, is because they're accumulating all these people. They're not looking to go out there into a marketplace to find people. They're looking to organize the thousands or hundreds of experts they have throughout their organization, so that this manager here is not going to use the same person that this manager here is going to use through an intermediary that they're paying 30%, 40%, 50%.
What else is happening? Why?
Well, I think for us, at least on the online work side, I think we've hit a tipping point where, okay, this isn't a strange thing that only small companies or startups or people who can't hire locally do. We're just seeing a broader acceptance of it. It's more comfortable, and I always use online dating and e-commerce as the analogy. When I was dating, I was not going to find the woman of my dreams, or certainly not the woman I would bring home to mom, online. And now I heard a stat earlier this week, 1 out of 3 couples today met online. It's just, 20 years ago that would have been.
Now if we can get divorced online.
The world is evolving, and they know it's evolving, and nobody knows how it will evolve. I don't think that any one of the 3 of us or 4 of us, anybody in this room would say, oh, I know how it's going to go down. We don't. We know there are a lot of interesting technologies out there. We know that to the extent that technology can take non-value-added SG&A out of a supply chain, it will. Right? If you can get the ultimate buyer of labor and the ultimate seller of labor together, they will get together. There are obviously industries and workflows in which that's not possible, and that's fine. And so I'm sure all the large staffing firms have been in your offices, they've been in ours, and they all sit there and they say, well, how is the world going to evolve? How are you our partner? Are you our competitor? Are you the Grim Reaper to us? I think the trend starts to build on itself. I actually wrote an article right after Odesk and Elance merged and said, we'll remember this is the time that online staffing really came to the front of the conversation, where it was no longer when a procurement officer or a manager said, hey, I'm going to go do online staffing, and their boss said, what is that?
Let's give the panel a round of applause.